Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Friday Night Rights. Thank you very much for joining us. And as you can see, two things. Number one, I am flying solo tonight. Sam and Evie cannot be with us, and we wish them the best. And number two, our special guest of honor is Katie Mizell from Smutco Industries, aka Cheap Smut. Katie,
Hello.
hello. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for inviting me and for reminding me because you're really on the ball and you invited me to do this like 4 months ago and I forgot.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, yeah. We always send out a reminder like a week before. It's like I don't even. I had to look at the schedule to see who we even have next week. It's like I'm not even sure. Like oh, it's Lauren Logan. Okay, so but yeah, and now and it's a nice little change of pace because we have a host of a show
Oh yeah.
as our guest as opposed to an author or someone else. So
Yeah. 1 second. Jonesy
yes,
needs to come back in.
you
Oh
got it.
no, I kicked you.
That's right. Katie had to let the dog in. She let the dog out. Now she lets the dog in. You know how it goes. So I will take this opportunity while Katie is away with the dog just to do my little spiel. I am Brian Scala. I write Sports Spice and Second Chances. I'm not going to go too long because I am not the guest, but this is the book that some of you know. It's Core Memories, my spicy friends with benefits entree with a side of trauma, and a doggy over there, and a sweet glass of love to wash it all down. And that's the spicy one. This one is the semi-spicy one, not quite spicy. This is an award-winning book about baseball, broken dreams, found family, and a love to fix it all. And I almost, it's for some reason I hear other people's spiels when I do my spiel, and I almost said 48 hours to save your soul. No, that's not true. That is an entirely different book, not Eddie the Legend.
48 hours to save your soul.
Not quite. I know. I just had to throw that out there. So, but this one, this one is not not that time. Not that time. This is the rock star and basketball player rise and fall redemption story. This is not spicy, but it's a very nice, riveting, fictitious memoir called Being Made, and that is what I have to offer. And in case and once again, we are here with the co-founder of Cheap Smut, a lovely show.
And her very annoying dog, excuse him. Thank you so much for having me.
No
How are
problem.
ya?
I'm good. I'm I'm glad you're doing well. You're pretty popular. Yeah, that's how it works. You divert your attention, and they try to bring it back.
I swear, man, every single time the kids, the husband, only the cats don't care, right? Cats come and go as they
Yeah,
please.
I have to say, yeah, that is one part where I'm lucky. For the most part, my cats stay downstairs when I'm here doing the thing. You know, um,
Mhm.
so I work remotely a couple days a week, but one of the cats comes up and checks on me a couple times a day just to see that I'm still living.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
um,
Just making sure.
yep. It's like usually it's around 4 o'clock when Buffett comes and he's like, it's dinner time. Like, well,
Yep. You provide the food.
exactly.
Therefore you can't die.
Yeah, there you go. So
I love that.
I don't know if we confirmed what you were giving away this evening, whether it be a
Oh,
book.
yes. Yes. So I have a paperback copy of Jacked Up by Latrexta Nova to give away, which is one of my favorites, and I think it's also a really good representation of what cheap smut is. It's this wild, inanimate object, dark, kind of violent, weird, wonderful, absurd book that just is like cheap smut personified. And then included in that, we're going to give away, I don't know if it's going to be 6 months or a year, access to our Patreon for free.
Oh,
Our Patreon is normally only $1 a month. So to make that giveaway worthwhile, we're going to give you a pretty decent chunk. And that will get you 1 week early access to all of our episodes, plus a monthly bonus episode and any additional content we feel like chugging out.
nice. Yeah, and that's certainly worthwhile. So I guess we're gonna have two lucky winners tonight. One for the Patreon and one for the book. And
Yeah.
for those of you who are tuning in the comments, if you want a piece of that, drop a pink heart emoji down in the comments, because the Cheap Smut logo is, well, among other things, it is
Pink
a pink,
heart.
among other things
Yep.
happening in that.
Among other things. Yes.
And
That logo, that beautiful logo. Uh, I love that. Carl made the original one, and that pink heart has just like personified our show ever since. It's been great.
nice. And since I am solo tonight, I'm gonna have to do this the old-fashioned way. I've got pen and paper. I'm gonna write down who put, how many entries we have and who's entered, and we're gonna have to do some sort of other thing besides the wheel later to determine a winner. But we will get to that much later on. So what we usually like to do is, we start out, by talking about you personally, and then we get into what you do, or either what, your show, whether it be, if you're an author, it's what you write, and so on. So first and foremost, oh,
There we go.
we're good. Okay. So first and foremost, tell us a little bit about you and
About
Carl.
me.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Katie Mizell. She, they. I am a homemaker from Lansing, Michigan. I've lived in Michigan for most of my life. Born and raised in Flint, Michigan, and I lived there until I was almost 30. And then we bopped around a little bit. My husband is Carl, and we have been married for, oh golly, what year is it? We've been married for 12, 13 years this year,
Mm,
and together for almost 16, 17.
nice.
Um, let's see. I was a theater kid before all of this. I have degrees in theater, in
I can see
acting
that.
and playwriting, and I used to be the singer dancer, but now I do this.
Oh, I can totally see that. Yeah, you remind me of my cousin who went to college at Fordham University. She majored in film, and she was a theater
Yeah.
kid, and she's still into the theater, the local theater, and like Westchester, Rockland County.
Yep. We're specific kind of, we can kind of spot ourselves in crowds too. You can find another theater kid, especially if like the right word is said and people start singing, those are your people. They something inside them is triggered a song they have to sing now.
Yes, like so you were the one, like for some reason I remember, you remember the show How I Met Your Mother, where um, oh god, Neil Patrick Harris and Jason Segel would just recite Les Mis.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
one of them
I
would.
could. I could do a one woman of Les Mis. That would work.
Yeah. So, you said you were a theater kid. Is that what you were, wanted to be when you were a child, when you were growing up?
When I was a kid, oh gosh, I wanted to be a million things when I was a kid. I wanted to be an author for a long time. I wanted to write books. I always loved books. And then I found theater in high school, middle school, then high school, and that was where I first found my my identity. Who I was separate from my parents and my school and every other thing. Theater was where I could be myself. And so I did go to college because I thought I wanted to maybe be an actor. And then when I realized I did not have the balls to actually put myself out there and be an actor, I studied playwriting. Um, it just came back around to writing in the end, I guess.
Nice. Yeah.
Sure. And that's my dog. His name is Himbo Jones.
Himbo Jones. Nice.
He's a jerk.
Well, he wants his attention. so,
He does. He really does.
so, so you were, into theater growing up, and then so how did that become? How did you go from being into theater to now segueing into going on to book talk and starting the author interviews?
Oh, okay. So I stopped doing theater in my mid 20s, actually, for my mental health. I was struggling with a lot of things, the main one being an eating disorder. And being in those spaces is not healthy for me as much as I love it and as much as I miss it. So for a few years, I just worked. I had a regular old job. I was a medical biller for an ambulance company. I was really good at that too. And then Carl and I decided to have children, and over the course of becoming a stay-at-home parent and having babies who require you to be up at like 2 in the morning with your boob in their face, and um, I got back into reading, and eventually I found the monster romances and the sentient objects and the aliens, and it was also bonkers. I just wanted to tell Carl all about it. And so I would tell him these stories, and then eventually I so I had really rough postpartum anxiety with both of my children, and one of my therapists suggested that I have a hobby
Wow.
outside of my children because I was a little too dedicated to them. And that's how Cheap Smut started.
Nice. Yeah, you do need that balance, and we'll get more into that later on. Yeah, so it's and Carl is he pretty much along for the ride? Like, I know the 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 idea is, you read these books and you tell him about them, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's great, but
Yeah, yeah. And he goes, "Oh my God, what?" And we laugh and make jokes about it. Yes, he is completely along for the ride. The first time I mentioned the idea of the show was about a year before we actually made it, and he, from day one, was like, "Just tell me when." He does all the production, he does all the editing, and he knows all the audio stuff. I don't know how to do any of this. All I know how to do is read the books. Um, so
that's really the
yeah,
most
he's
important
been.
part.
Yeah, I mean, we are a package deal. Cheap Smut wouldn't exist without either of us, but um, yeah, he's like white knuckling it through some of these stories. But yeah, he's doing good, I guess, with it.
Nice,
He hasn't stopped it yet.
nice.
We
I
haven't
know.
found the story that's made him go no more.
No, that's good. I mean, there are some pretty unique stories out there, and I know he's, as far as the production goes, I know he's into the other podcasts. I was I was honored to be part of one of his shows, Put Me in Coach, about baseball.
Yeah, Put Me in Coach was great. They decided to stop making that one this
Oh,
year.
okay.
Matt, his co-host, he got a lot of really fantastic opportunities in his day job. And he works for the museums in New York. Like, we can't tell
Oh,
him no, right? Um, and it was time to be done. It was time to be done with the show for
I got
them. But you got to be part of that, and that's very exciting. That was a really good show. It was the only show I ever listened to about baseball.
you. Nice. Yeah, no, I was really cool, and I think, once he heard about Eddie the Legend, that was kind of like the catalyst. So, you
Yeah, I was like, Carl, he writes baseball books.
he writes
He loves the Mets.
smut and baseball.
Yep, exactly.
So, and besides your show, I mean, obviously you're a mom and you have, your work. Um, what other hobbies would you say?
Hobbies. I craft. I make a lot of crafts. I make cross stitch. I make jewelry. I make oddities out of animal bone, which
Oh,
my friend slash author IVM Young, she owns property and she finds animal bones on her property sometimes and sends them to me. So that's it. I am mildly agoraphobic. I don't leave my home very often, except to go to therapy and and to get my nails done. I get my nails done regularly as a radical act of self-care.
I hear you. Yeah, and well, that is important. Therapy and nails.
Hmm.
Essentials.
Yes, to feel like your best self.
Right. um, one thing we like to ask our guests is, if there are any types of projects or causes that that they hold near and dear to them, like, like any type of charity, for example.
Yes. So not in specific, but I am very dedicated to causes in ending violence against women, all women, in particular, RAIN, which helps to fund the processing of rape kits, which have not been processed
Yes.
for decades, and the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls program. Those are the two big ones for me, especially because I'm from Michigan and our Indigenous community is not talked about nearly enough, but our missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls are just as important as those across the border in Canada.
Absolutely, yes. And what I'll do is when I post the video either later tonight or tomorrow morning, I will post the links to Rain and what was the other one?
Missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
Okay,
MMIWG.
gotcha. Oh yeah, yes, that's right. I think I've heard of that one too through I believe Desi Marie.
Mhm. Yeah, Desi for sure would. She's a big advocate for her community.
Yes, as absolutely. And thank you for being an advocate. And I've been familiar with Rain for many years.
Yeah.
Growing up, I listened to Tori Amos, and I believe she founded it.
Oh, I think she did. If she isn't the founder, she has definitely been a major benefactor to the organization.
Most definitely.
I know she put a lot of money into it for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, I found out about them from I used to be a murderino, listen to My Favorite Murder a lot, and the those women always advocate for our victims.
Nice.
Lindsay, stop that.
Hmm. The dog is still trying to get in on the action. But
I swear, he could just come over here.
yeah, it's
There
okay.
we go.
We have another member of Cheap Smut here with us this evening.
Yes. Yeah. This is Mr. Bones. He has terrible manners. I can't train him. If anybody has any tips on dog training, I'll take them.
He just wants your attention. That's my
Yay.
father had a dog like that. We had a couch, and we tried to share. I sit on one side, she'd sit on the other side, but eventually she'd just kind of nudge me and crawl on top of me, just like, no, that's
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Cece wins.
Exactly.
So, um, just to get a little bit more lighthearted now. Besides your dog, what are some of your favorite things? Whether it be like favorite food, favorite season, favorite whatever, favorite
Favorite
music.
things. Um, I love, let's see, I love I love American folk music, music that kind of tears at your heartstrings, like Noah Kahn. Um, I also like, well, all folk music. I guess the other band I really love is a band called The Amazing Devil, and they are a British folk band. Um, I love rainbows. I have crystals that hang in my windows so that they'll just scatter around my house. And I love the way my daughter dances in the rainbows. She makes me twirl the crystals.
Oh,
Um, let's see, what else do I love? I love building Legos.
oh,
God, do I love building Legos.
oh, that sounds like a group
I would
activity.
I would build more, but it is a group activity if I get them out with the kids around. Yeah.
Now, do the kids love building Legos, or is it just something that you love and they just kind of do it with you?
So the older child, he likes building them now. He's starting to understand following sequential instructions, like to build a kit. The little one, she just likes to pop the pieces together and see what she can make and, be creative and build stuff. Um, yeah, they both enjoy it in their own ways.
Nice. Yep. Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, um, obviously, reading is another thing another one of your favorite things for sure. What was your most recent five-star read?
Oh, 5-star read. Well, so I guess if we're talking about like every book I read for the show, I say is a 5-star read. I am that kind of reader. I love them all, and I am. terrible at reviewing things, honestly. So I guess the book I just read for the show, Howls and Home Runs by Biblio Barbie,
Oh,
that one was really great. I loved that.
is there a little baseball in that one too?
It is very baseball adjacent. It's about a mascot costume that gains sentience.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah. So
Yeah, but he is the mascot for a baseball team. So, there's
nice.
that. I try to get baseball in every now and again for Carl.
Right. Right. Yeah. Now, are you both Tigers fans, or is that how it works?
Yes. Well, so I am not a sports person. I am a fan of all of my husband's teams because I love him.
Ah, that's nice. So,
But I
just
do like going to a Tigers game though. Those are fun.
yeah, I can definitely, when I retire and I'm like 65, 70 years old, I think that's one of my goals is to go to all of the major league ballparks and for that matter all the minor league ballparks too. You know,
Yes.
as
Carl's doing that too.
oh nice, yeah,
Trying
I don't
to
I
over the
don't think
course of his life.
nice.
What am I trying to do?
Baseball stadiums.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we were
yeah.
ta-
I'm going to both New York stadiums this year. By the way.
oh hey, you know what, maybe you drop me a note, let me know when you're going to go to City Field and maybe I can, you know, maybe we can meet up.
Oh yes, yeah. I if I have to, I'll resell tickets and we'll move something around. But I'm going to the Yankees Tigers game on September 11th with Matt
Ah,
from Put Me in Coach, the now defunct Put Me in Coach.
yes, I heard,
Sorry
unfortunately.
you heard. It's better to hear from us than on the street. And then September 12th at City Field, Mets Rangers. So I'll let you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So, hi everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Carl Mizell. And
Yes,
just a
hello.
reminder, we are giving away not only the Patreon membership, but a copy of I'm going to have to write it down. I apologize.
Jacked Up by Latrexta Nova.
Jacked up. So if you want either one of those, drop a pink heart in the comments, and I am keeping track with yes boy bonding according to Tracy in the comments. Yeah,
Yeah, I screwed everything up.
that's okay. No, we
Uh,
we're all good here. We were just gonna get
I want
into
to stop in and say hello to you and on camera and hello to everybody and thank you for making Katie feel so welcome and for listening to the podcast that she has nurtured and birthed into this world.
well, it is
Well,
it
birthed
is.
and then nurtured.
I'm sure that
You're
it's my
right.
pleasure, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. And we're gonna get into that show right about now. And I just realized I didn't send you these questions ahead of time. That might have been helpful,
Oh,
or less anxiety, Or, but
no, I'm good. I'm good with the public speaking stuff.
so, um, so why don't you tell us a little bit about Cheap Smut? For those of you who haven't seen the show or know what it's about, just give us like a basic rundown.
Um, so Cheap Smut is a podcast in the style of the show The Dollop. So I read a book every week, and then I tell Carl the story, and he has no idea beyond the title of beyond the title of the book what it's going to be about, and then he reacts
Oh,
in real time, and we make a lot of jokes and laugh at some of the frankly silly situations that we love so much in these books, things you would never accept happening to you in real life.
but in the dark fantasy world of smut, perhaps maybe just a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yep. Yep, where things are a little freer flowing because it's all fiction.
Where it's like, what is it, like a Who's Line, where the points don't count, and or is it
Yeah, where the points don't matter.
yes,
Exactly.
where the rules are made up and the points don't matter. That's kind
Yep.
of like what it's like reading one of those spicy books.
Yep, exactly. The rules are all made up. You just yes and your way through it, which is why I love them.
Or maybe there are, in some cases there are no rules, and in other cases there might be some rules where very stringent, and if you don't adhere to those rules, you might be punished.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
depending on what tropes you're reading. Yeah.
Yeah. So, now, I know we discussed this briefly before, but where did you get the inspiration to start hosting the show?
To start, it was like I said, my I had a therapist tell me that I should maybe start a hobby, to distance myself from my motherhood duties,
Yes.
and it was about the only thing that sounded like fun at the time was to sit down and just tell Carl things that were happening in my books. So that's where it started. And then from there, we very quickly developed relationships with a lot of lovely authors and started hosting the author profiles and trying to build a community. I didn't, I always knew I wanted this to make a community for me. I just didn't think it would actually happen. So that's really nice.
Yes, and for those of you who know you, you are an important part of the community, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
So,
I try to be. I try to be as good to you guys as you've been to me.
oh no, no, you were amazing. Especially this past year. Being at Sinful Signings, and you went around and did quickies with a whole
I
bunch of
did.
us. Myself, Samantha, Moran, Evie Black, I believe S.A. Bird, Kitty Powell, Kennedy Sutton.
Yeah.
Yes.
I still have more of those too. I did some at tables that never got done.
Oh,
Damn. ADHD is the worst, man.
no, maybe, but maybe in time for this year's Sinful, we can
Yeah,
see
yeah, we'll
those.
we'll do it as a lead up to this year's too.
There you go. Yeah, and you also landed a very nice interview with Bryn Weaver. How did that happen?
Yeah. Okay, that was crazy. So Sinful asked us if we wanted to be involved, and we said yes, whatever you want us to do. We thought maybe we might host an episode or something like small. And then, what, 3 months or something before Sinful, I get an email from Desi that's like, don't freak out, but we would like you to interview Bryn Weaver. And we were like, you want us to do what?
Don't freak out, but freak out.
Yeah. So I had to explain first. I had to explain to Carl who Bryn Weaver was and why that was such a big deal,
Yeah.
and then uh, we like freaked out for a month or so. That really just sort of came out of I don't know how Bryn was got involved in Sinful. I assume it's Desi and Autumn and their magic ability to just pull. They just pull the best people.
Magic for sure. They are magic, I have to say.
They are. They're witches.
And that just
Just glad
speaks
they
to
use their powers for good.
yes, that speaks to them, and that speaks to the brand. It's people know.
Yeah, yeah. It's special. I
So
didn't even realize how special until I actually got there.
yeah, oh yeah, and
Oh, Lord.
next I think this year you might start a Michigan party bus.
Yes, yeah. We have talked about it. We have because there are so many of us here.
I mean,
Michigan is a hotbed of authors.
oh yes, between you, Samantha Moran, and Sarah Furlong Burr, Kitty Paul. I know T.S. Tappan is down here. I don't think she's unfortunately I don't think she's part of Sinful this year. But yeah, but there are so many of them out there, and
Yeah.
so many wonderful authors you can get along the way too.
Yes, yep, we can stop and pick up. I think we talked to who did we talk to? Andy McLean. She's
Oh,
in Ohio,
nice.
right? We could pick her up on the way.
Hmm.
Then there's also they're not attending, but I could just kidnap them. Sabrina Cross and Marty V are both authors that I've covered on the show who are my neighbors.
Ah,
I could just take them.
yeah. Now,
I don't know what it is about something about our beautiful mitten just makes authors.
yeah, it is the mitten. How does it work now? It's like I think it looks like this, and you're either here or here. Am I doing it
Okay,
right?
yeah. So this is the Lower Peninsula. This is the Upper Peninsula.
Right.
Our our upper brother. I am right here
Hmm.
in Lansing. I used to live right here in Flint.
Nice.
This is Detroit. This is the exit to Canada.
Yep. It's one of the few instances where you have to drive south to get to Canada.
Yes, yes, you do. You have to drive south to get to Canada. Uh, Actually, I guess for me it's mostly east.
Oh well, yes. Now, I mean, you've interviewed in mostly indie authors,
Yeah.
and Bryn Weaver. Would you, is
So
that
it's
was that
technically
your?
indie.
Yes, that's true. I mean, is that was it your intention all along to focus on indie authors, or would you ever consider interviewing a trad author?
Um, I would interview any author who would have the time to talk to me. Um, I focus on indie books on Cheap Smut, and that is very important to me because trad authors have trad money, so they don't need help advertising their books. But indie authors are working on shoestrings and prayers, and anything that I can do, I will. So,
You are, yes, and you're doing a fabulous job at that too. And I know that so many of us are grateful, for your help and your support.
well,
Um,
thank you. I am glad to be able to do it. Like I said, this I was hoping this show would make a community for me, but I wasn't really confident that it would. And it turns out that it did. And authors in the indie community in general, like all of the book talk community, the authors, the editors, the influencers, the cover artists, the arc readers, like this community is incredible.
oh,
And
absolutely.
every time somebody joins, it's like we have a party to celebrate the next big, person to join the family. It's like, holy shit, these guys are amazing.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes sinful what it is. It's like a one big happy family, like a homecoming. You know,
Yes, it is. People cried. Every time somebody came in, somebody cried.
oh yes, yeah. It is like, oh my God, it's you. I can't. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you see them in person for the first time. That's what I was doing the whole time. I was like, what do you call it? I was sort of assimilating the fact that they all had bodies, you know? Like they were people, not just like on my screen, but like in
Not
my
just like,
actual presence.
yeah, not like Max Headroom. I don't know if you remember him. I might be dating
I Yes,
myself.
I remember. I don't. I was a little young for Max Headroom. He's one of Carl's favorite cultural
Yes.
mysteries. Yeah.
For those,
And I know all about him because I love stuff like that. To me, he's the same as Bigfoot.
yeah. For those of you who don't know, just picture me like in like like the screen popping on like bop, 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 like that was.
Yep. He wore this weird mask
Yeah.
and he looked like he was made of plastic and he just sort of
Yeah.
bopped around the screen and
So yeah.
he infiltrated broadcasts in real time and nobody ever figured out how.
Yeah. You know. Unfortunately, the whole Captain Midnight thing put an end to Max Headroom. But that's neither here nor there. um,
We could do a whole second podcast if you want to do.
I know, I know. We'll get back to Cheap Smut. So, um, we talked a little bit about Bryn Weaver. Are there any other moments on the show that kind of stood out to you? Maybe like I know you did the interviews on the couch at Sinful. Um,
Those were great. So the interviews on the couch, the quickies on the couch for sure. Um, the craziest, coolest interview we have done is Opal Rain, who lives in Australia,
oh,
and we spoke with her like 12 hours ahead so we could talk to her, and that was really cool. She did the Dustwalker Bride series, and that is like one of the cornerstones of the like dark monster romance community. So being able to talk to her was really cool. Um, Also at Sinful was the first time I ever met a famous TikToker. I met Taco.
oh
And
yeah,
what's his name? The guy with the voice and the hat. Jack, Uncle Copper.
Copper. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So those are pretty cool moments. The other ones that always stick out to me are when authors reach out after they've heard their episode to tell me that they enjoyed it.
Yes, and I was one of those that, and I heard it like actually I think it was the week of Sinful, it came out, and
Hmm.
which was perfect timing because I just released my book.
Yeah.
So,
That one was we I try every time I try to line up authors for interviews when they've got big stuff happening. So hopefully it will boost them a little bit. Um, So that was really great. Both Sinful and Core Memories coming out at the same time was like a fantastic confluence of events.
Yes, and I did that on purpose, and I don't recommend doing it again because it was a little bit stressful.
A release at a con?
Yes.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that was also super cool. Like you sold out, man. That
Yeah,
was
I had one
amazing.
left. I couldn't believe it.
And you had the coolest table.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah, for those of you who weren't there, uh, it was Samantha Moran's idea, and I just kind of ran with it. You know, to have the Italian restaurant theme, or with the red checker tablecloth, with the whole table for two set up. You know, had
Yeah.
menus, we had candlelight, and of course we had the book. You know,
It was so great. I loved it. Interactive table. It's such a good idea.
yeah.
Plus, like you said, I think at the event it really invites people to come and sit down and
Oh
be there
yes.
for a
Yeah,
second.
Avon literally screamed when she saw it.
Yes.
So, so obviously, the doing the show is can be can be taxing at times. You have your life outside of Cheap Smut. How do you handle like the social media life balance? And all that.
I I very recently chose to stop giving myself uh social media assignments at all. Because it was too stressful. Making the show like so it reading a book a week and making the show may not be stressful for some people, but for me with my mental health and what I am capable of doing, sometimes it's a lot.
Yeah.
So, at one point I had given myself the goal to post on social media every single day. Something,
Right.
anything, every single day. They tell you that's what you're supposed to do. You got to keep the engagement up. You got to keep people looking at your shit. But I don't actually get paid for this. I am the only person on the show who doesn't make any money at all. Um, you know, uh, so I stopped. I stopped.
I get
That's
it.
really the end of it. You
Yeah.
have to be able to make the choice to say no.
Yeah, like Sam says, it's a hard choice, but it's the best thing for your health sometimes. And it is
Yeah.
it and she wants us to remind you. She's lurking in the comments. She had a migraine, like I said, but she is kind of lurking down in the comments tonight, and she wants us to know that you're doing amazing things, and at the same time you need to take care of you. And it's funny because I've Sam and I have had those same conversations, and Evie as well, and we're always reminding each other, you come first, your health comes first.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I know that like we grind really hard because we love what we do and also because we're trying to earn a living, right? Well, me not me personally, but you're trying to earn a living and you're grinding as hard as you can and because of the very precarious like economic situation that we live in,
Yeah.
you feel like you can't stop. But if you don't stop, you will die,
That is an
you know?
unfortunate fact of life.
You're not a shark. You need to rest. You need to stop. And I am also, not to get like into weird philosophical stuff, I am personally of the opinion that we have all been lied to about the amount that we are supposed to achieve in a day.
Yeah, I think there are other countries who who relish their freedom, their time off. They don't work as hard. The whole idea of a 40-hour work week. I mean, listen, maybe 30. If you want to pare it down to 32, maybe. I
Oh man. If you want to get me started on the 40-hour work week, you can wake up the leftist in me. The 40-hour work week was a compromise. The
yeah.
40-hour work week was a compromise made 100 years ago by people who are working 90 hours and wanted to work 15.
Huh. Now, I read somewhere along the way, being a Michigander, was it Henry Ford who proposed that, or is that just like an urban legend?
Henry Ford did not propose the 40-hour work week. No, the 40-hour work week was a compromise that was made by not by the auto workers union even, but in part by the Teamsters who did have some auto union representatives. Um, But Henry Ford, he pioneered automation, which automatically led to industrialization being able to make a 40-hour work week seem like a standard that was attainable. If you only had one job and you just had to do it for 8 hours a day, well, then you can just do this job on the line for 8 hours a day. But nobody works 8 hours a day.
Right. Yeah,
Not really.
we need breaks. Every 2 or 3 hours you need to take a break. You need to have lunch. You need to go to the bathroom. It's
Exactly. Exactly. You need to relax your brain. You need to move your body. You need to do things that engage and excite you. If you do the same shit over and over all day long, you're going to go crazy like a monkey in a zoo.
hard facts. Yes. So right now you're focusing. In addition to cheap smut, you're focusing on you and your health, and recharging. And it's always good to recharge, because then you don't have any spoons for creativity purposes.
Yes. Yeah. That is mostly what I'm focusing on now. I mean, our next big project is Monster Erotica Con in Baltimore in May.
Oh, nice.
And that one that will be taking most of our attention in the next couple of months.
Nice. So, what would you say you enjoy the most about the book community, and conversely, what do you enjoy not so much?
Um, I love the I love how big the book community is. I love how diverse it is if you actually look at it. They don't want you to think it's diverse, but you can dig down until you find the good shit, the really good shit. And um I think that that is what makes it so great, is that it is a place for everybody and we all understand the importance of printed words on a page and how much they mean to us and how much they move us. And from there, because we all have that one grain of like holy truth, we can form community. The thing I don't like is the infighting, which you can't help in a family.
Oh,
um, but people, they get in each other's shit. They say stupid things, or they straight up write stupid things and then try to defend themselves. Then you have to have a fight about that with 20 other people for an hour. It's
yeah,
not perfect.
yeah. I don't even. I've kind of distanced myself from TikTok the last couple of months, so I don't even know
Oh,
what all
good.
the fuss is about. I don't know what
Good.
the drama. The only drama I hear about is from Sam and Evie, and you know. So
That's
I'm
awesome. Yeah,
probably better off.
I'm not super tuned into TikTok and the drama either. But I know that it always exists. Like it has to, right? That's how we work as people. We're constantly creating tension and drama for ourselves. I just try to avoid it as best as I can, or it'll drive me crazy.
Yeah, that's I understand that. Oh, I think somebody wants you to toss the toy.
Him and his squeaky toys. He's got four toys littered around me, by the way. He just keeps bringing them in hopes that I'll throw one.
Yeah, my cat does the same thing with Buffett thinks he's a dog sometimes. He has his little poofs that he plays with, and then I take it and I chuck it, and he goes runs after it, and then he brings it back.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a cat that played fetch too. Her name was Estelle. She was cool. We had a set of stairs in our first apartment, and you would throw a little like jingly ball down the stairs and she'd bring it back up.
So, um, what would you say? Like, do you have any specific routines when you're getting ready to do a show? Like, how does that work?
Yes, I do. I I usually try to I read the book that I'm going to do over the course of a couple of days. And then on Monday or Tuesday, I do my notes. And that's where I go through the book again and I summarize the entire thing with interesting plot points. Brother, I think of a few jokes along the way, or some stuff sometimes I'll write notes that I know will prompt Carl to make a joke. Um, and then the day of record, we usually record on Wednesdays. I go through my notes again and I read them all. to make sure that I have a basic understanding of the plot again before I start. And then I always organize my notes in a very specific way so that I have tabs so I know where I'm going.
Gotcha. Yeah. And now, I don't remember if I don't remember if you gave me the questions ahead of time. I don't think you did. It was just one. It was, but it didn't feel like I was pressured. You know, it was like it was one of the rare interviews where I don't think I knew what was going to be asked, but I still felt comfortable ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's a
Well, thank
testament
you.
to you and Carl.
That is Carl. He is the interview arm. He's really, really good at interviewing and at thinking of good questions. I couldn't do it. Usually when he's like, "Do you have any questions?" and I'm like, "No, do you know you're the best?"
Yeah. So, I mean, you've had so many authors on your show. Are there any other authors or perhaps any other hosts who have inspired you along the way?
Um, authors who inspire me. I mean, maybe the only one that I really have that is like one of my favorite authors of all time who inspired me so much is Neil Gaiman, who very recently we found out is a horrible person and an abuser of women. And
Yes.
so I'm still wrestling with that. But in some ways, I still take what he taught me to heart, and that is that the world is a more beautiful and scary place than you can ever imagine, and that is wonderful.
Yes, I know that. I know you're not the only one who is struggling with that one. You know, he meant a lot and he inspired a lot of people, and it is unfortunate. You know, it's yeah. They say never meet your heroes. Well, I mean, I don't know if that's entirely true. I mean, you know, I mean, there are authors within the book talk community who have inspired me, and I've met them. But I guess it's just some people. Yeah, unfortunately, there are
Yeah.
some people out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's the risk you run when you have heroes, right?
Yeah.
But as for the podcast and how I run the podcast now, I do um, try to keep it in line with. So there's a podcast called In Our Ears, which is hosted by Lauren Devora and her friend Dee. Lauren Devora is an author who writes under both Lauren Devora and Gwendolyn Harper. And their model, they swear it's called the Cheap Smut model. I think it's the In Our Ears model. Um, but either way, the goal is when you are speaking about something you love to only ever talk about the things you love. Never shit on
Hmm.
things.
Right. You
There's room for criticism, but not for me.
gotcha. Yeah, and almost like you don't want to put that out into the universe. In a way.
Exactly. Somebody, whether I liked it or not, somebody worked hard on it.
That's
It's not
true.
my place to tell them that their hard work was not worth it.
That's true. Yeah. And you know, I think that's very admirable. Yeah. We're kind of we're actually flying by these questions. But well, I'll try to add some more fun whimsical ones at the end. But do you have any advice for people who maybe want to start their own podcast or do their own?
Do it. Do it. That's my advice. Do it. Anybody can. The amount of equipment you require is minimal at best. You can get away with buying a Logitech microphone uh, for $35 off of Amazon, and that sounds just fine. Um, Also, read the book uh, Everybody Has a Podcast Except You by the McElroys. They are one of the first families of podcasting, the McElroy family, the McElroy brothers, who host My Brother, and Me, and one of my favorite podcasts of all time. And also The Adventure Zone, which is maybe the best podcast ever made. Um, they wrote a book. They wrote the book on making podcasts, and their premise is everybody can do it. So do it.
Nice. Yeah, I guess that, as long as you have know what you're have a plan and you want to engage with people, yeah, it can be, yeah, anybody can do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's room at the table for everybody.
Yep. And also, don't let anybody convince you you have to make video podcasts. You don't have to make video podcasts if you don't want to. They're trying to push really hard for video and podcasting spaces right now, but if you don't want your face on camera, you don't have to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've noticed that when I watch the YouTube videos, or whatever, it's just the audio
Yeah,
version
it's
of
this logo.
Cheap Smut.
Yep, I'm looking into possibly utilizing Canva a little more to make dynamic like backgrounds for the podcast on YouTube and stuff, but I don't want my face on the screen. I understand like so there's been this shift in the last like 5 years or so on YouTube to longer formats. So it used to be like your video has to be 5 minutes or less or nobody's watching it. But after, especially after COVID, people needed to feel comfort and to feel like they had people around them. And now there are long form videos happening more and more. So they're like podcasts. If you just film your podcast, people just put it up there. No, stop looking at my face.
Yeah, it's not about your face; it's about the guest.
No, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's not about my face. It's about the book I'm reading and the author who wrote it.
exactly. And thank you for giving everybody a forum, to talk about them. And if you want a copy of that book, Jacked Up, or if you want the Patreon membership that Cheap Smut is graciously uh, donating, you can drop a pink heart down in those comments, and I'll pause just briefly just to make sure I get everybody's entry here. Make sure I don't forget it and overlook it. And and before I get, we're not done yet, but I just want to thank you. While we have this, I just want to take this moment to thank you for being here. And
You're
and
so welcome. Thank you for having me. It was the first time anybody's ever interviewed me.
oh wow, I actually didn't know that. Well, I mean, it. How does it feel being on the other side?
Kind of cool.
You know,
Nobody ever wants to ask me questions.
I mean,
No, it's fun.
everybody has a story, even the people who are, you know, asking about their other people's stories. Everybody has a story, and I think
Absolutely.
yours is just as fascinating, if not more so.
Oh, thank you.
So,
And you can interview me too. What's your name? Tapin?
oh, that's T.S. Tappan. She's from the Grand Rapids area.
Really?
Yes, that
We
is
should hang out sometime.
that is author T.S. Tappan of the Howler MC series.
Oh, that's awesome. I love an MC story. That's so cool.
Yes,
There's another podcast that was based out of Grand Rapids for a long time that I really loved. Called This Podcast is Haunted. They don't exist anymore, but they were really great.
oh man, that sounds like it would be up Sam's alley. Yeah, and
Does she like spooky things? Oh, she does. She loves spooky things. She wrote a bunch of spooky books. She
yes,
wrote
of
the
course.
scariest book I read last year.
Yes, the book that broke you. I remember that video, and that is like that. I'm no joke. That is my favorite book. You know,
It's so good.
it is.
It's so good.
Yes.
I so I have a thing for unreliable narrators and twists that I never saw coming, and she got me good. I loved it so much.
That's what she does. Yeah, and especially with Dealings in the Dark.
Hmm.
For those, I won't spoil it for those who haven't read it, but there is a bit of a swerve at the end.
You're Sam likes to swerve on them. That's true.
So, all right. So we're gonna get into some fun questions now, and I have to ask Evie Black's favorite to kick it off. Allegedly, there's a correct answer to this, but I'll accept any answer. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh, the Parasaurolophus.
I have never heard of that
The,
one.
the Parasaurolophus. Yeah, so you have heard of it. The
Oh,
Parasaurolophus is Ducky from A Land Before Time with
oh,
that horn. Yeah. So they are a semi-aquatic species. But so the thing I love the most about them is that a few years ago, scientists decided to see if what that horn was used for. Everyone always assumed that it was probably for dominance and fighting. But then when they put a 3D model of one in a computer and replicated what would happen if you blew air through it, it made a horn noise. And now they're speculating that it was actually to make some kind of call and not to fight at all, that they were probably just making really loud duck quacks. And I love that. I love that, everybody always assumes that dinosaurs were these big, mean, violent lizards, but they were probably all pretty chill most of the time. You know?
hmm,
Most animals are chill until something threatens them. They're not just wandering around fighting each other.
that is
I
true.
also
Yeah,
think that T-Rexes, I ascribe to the theory that the T-Rex arms are on backwards and that they are actually vestigial wings and that they should go like this and not
oh,
like this.
that's interesting. Yeah, T Rex is my favorite because that's my wife's nickname. She is T Rex because she has short arms.
Dude,
I shit you not.
I love that. Um, I've met have you met Sue the T-Rex at the field in Chicago?
uh, no, I have not.
No, she's the world's most complete T-Rex fossil. She's
Nice.
called Sue after the lady who found her.
Oh, nice. So, if you could live anywhere, real or fictional, where would it be?
Oh God. Okay. So there is a series on TikTok that I love called Hell's Bells. It's a one-woman show kind of skit series. This woman tells long-form skits about the afterlife. I would like to live in her version of the afterlife, where everyone gets their own personal paradise that is made specifically for them.
That is really cool. Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence with the whole religion thing right now, but I always imagined that that heaven would be our own personal paradise.
Yeah,
And I hope.
I'm not a religious person,
Yeah,
so yeah.
right. Well, whatever the case is, I hope I get my own personal paradise. Whether
Yeah.
I can go to Epcot Center like back when it opened in the '80s, or I could go to a ball game, or I could go to Sinful again for the first time. It's
Yeah.
those are all high up there on the personal paradise list.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I love it.
Um, what would you rather do? Would you rather wash the dishes, mow the lawn, clean the bathroom, or vacuum?
Uh, Wash the dishes or clean the bathroom. Something that has visible proof that I did it when I'm done.
Ah, yeah, I think I would actually wash the dishes also, and and my job is to clean the bathroom, and it doesn't take very long because our bathroom is like the size of my laptop.
You live in New York though, right?
Yes, I live
Yeah.
on Long Island. We have
Okay, so
what's
you
called.
have a tiny bathroom.
Well, it's not as tiny as some of those apartments in Manhattan, but we have
Sure.
what's called a Levitt house, which back post World War II, they were originally built. They were all like substandard size for the day, and they were built for the troops coming home from war. To have something affordable to to settle into. To start their families and whatnot. So there's a whole community in Levittown, which is why what gave the town Levittown its name. Um, so we live in one of those old Levitt houses, and they're all like cookie cutter, like 3 or 4 different designs. Um,
Yep.
we don't have a basement, and we have like it's like so we have like two bedrooms on the bottom floor, one small bathroom. Like not small, but we have all the basic things, and then upstairs is an attic and another bedroom. It's just like so.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's cozy.
A little box of a house. We have those too. We have we would call them box farms or GI neighborhoods, where just a bunch of boxes got put up all at once. And they all look the
Gotcha.
same on the inside.
What is the most daring thing you've ever done?
Daring?
Yes.
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I jumped off of a 15-foot cliff into a lake once.
Oh, would that be one of the Great Lakes by
Um,
chance?
Actually, no, that one was in Ohio of all places. I don't even know where I was. I was with some friends. Actually, yeah, why don't we go with that? Swimming as far out into Lake Michigan as I could go is the most daring thing I have ever done in my life. Because
Nice.
I could have died,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah,
Lake
I don't
Michigan is huge.
I don't know what that entails. I mean, we have the ocean, we have beaches by us. So I mean, I don't know what the, I mean, uh, I don't know how what the water is like in Lake Michigan. Like swimming in it and whatnot. It's
Sure. It's cold always, no matter what time of year. The warmest it ever gets is in high July. And if you look at it, it looks like you're looking at an ocean. I mean, like Chicago was on the other side of it, and you can't see it. It's a huge body of water. But the biggest problem is it's mostly boat traffic. I mean, it's not like we have riptides and things because we don't have oceanic current. But boat traffic is constant, and a lot of them are not sober while they're doing it.
ah. Um, do you believe in aliens?
100% yes. Yes, I do.
So do I. And I think when the aliens finally decide they've had enough of our garbage, they'll make us their pets. That's my personal take on that.
I think it requires an incredible amount of hubris to think the aliens care about us at all.
Hmm, that's true. Yeah, I haven't really thought about it that way.
Um, I think that space is far too vast for us to make much of a difference in the grand scheme, you know? Like,
Hmm.
so this is one of the things I love about like speculative science fiction. Humans only think like humans do. So if we consider aliens, we only consider why aliens would come to us through our own lens, and we are conquesting violent, uh, territorial people.
Hmm.
So we
Some of us,
assume
yeah.
that everyone else in the universe is going to be the same. But
That
what
is
if they're
true.
not?
Yeah, that's that is really enlightening. I never really thought about it like that. And unfortunately, as we've found out in recent weeks and months, some humans can be very territorial and conquesting, and against anyone's better judgment. But I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. But I'll joke, all seriousness aside, I hope they take me. Like, I'm done with this. I will stand in my backyard and wait for the bright light. I hope they take me.
I I don't think you're alone there at this point. That would be your own personal paradise, I believe, taking you away.
Get me off this planet.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Moose tracks.
Ooh, nice.
I love anything that's got peanut butter in it.
Nice. I think that's Sam's favorite too. Moose tracks.
Got good taste.
Yeah, I'm a cookie dough. I either cookie dough or Ben and Jerry's milk and cookies. Yeah,
Nice.
or
Those are
half
both
baked.
good. Cookie dough is a divisive flavor. I love it personally, but it's one of those like you either love it or hate it. That and mint chocolate chip.
Yes, yes. Yeah, some people are like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest thing," and other people are like, "It's like eating toothpaste."
Yes, yeah. But no, toothpaste is awful, and mint chip is delicious.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, Evie says that vanilla is the perfect flavor because you can add anything to it. You know,
That's true. It enhances most other flavors by itself, like salt.
true. Yes. What inanimate object would be the most annoying if it played loud, upbeat music while being used?
Okay, so
And you can be as R-rated as you want with that answer, by the way.
like uh, so I read a lot of books about inanimate objects that come to life and fuck people.
I have too. Christmas trees.
Yeah. So okay, like on the regular, if it made an annoying noise every time I used it, you've seen how addicted I am to nicotine. My vape would become my nemesis. Like, imagine if this sounded like a kazoo every time. I,
That would be
um,
interesting.
yeah, something like that I use constantly would be very annoying.
Hmm. Like maybe the toilet seat, for example.
Yeah, yeah. Like if the toilet seat talked to me, that would be unpleasant. Unless it was one of those really cool toilets they have in Japan that like you sit on it and it greets you and asks you how you're doing.
Oh, I have to go to Japan. Is it heated? I might not want to get up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they have freaking cool toilets in Japan. I haven't been there for almost 20 years, but even back then they had cool toilets.
As a child, what did you think would be awesome about being an adult, but is not really awesome?
Not having anyone tell me what to do, because that means I have to make all my own choices, and that sucks
Ah,
more.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's that is the catch 22, isn't it? You're your own boss, but every once in a while you need someone to help steer you in the right direction, whether we want to admit it or
Yeah,
not. Or somebody
exactly.
to hold you accountable. Like, hey, you didn't write today, or actually
Mhm.
this past week, Sam messaged me. It's like, hey, I'm doing writing sprints. You know, like as in like you should join me. You know what I mean?
Hey, we that's called voluntelling someone to do something.
Yeah. I think she
You've
was
been
just hoping. I
voluntold.
think she was just hoping for company, but it also
Yeah,
looked like yeah, I should be writing instead of playing video games or whatnot.
it's easier not to do things by yourself. It's nice to have a body double to hang out
Absolutely,
with you while you work.
absolutely. Oh, and T.S. Tappan says her picking dinner, choosing what to eat. That is like what we thought would be awesome, but isn't quite so awesome.
Yes,
Because
choosing what to eat for dinner.
I don't know
That's
how.
that. Isn't that's a conversation that happens in every couple's home in the world. Like, what are we having for dinner? Ah, shit. Uh,
Exactly. That's half of my conversations with Jen, my wife, is you know how was your day? What do you want for dinner? Like I don't know. What do you want? And then
yep.
it's like,
I don't know. What are we doing? I don't know.
yep,
Tonight it was clean out the fridge, use the leftovers.
there you go. Yeah, my stepmother used to do that like once a week. Just throw everything into like a casserole pan and just put it in the oven. Who knows?
Yep.
There are carrot. It's like ground beef, carrots. Mushrooms, whatever is in there. It's
Yep. We can't waste the food.
exactly.
In our case, we just had some chicken that needed to be cooked up and turned into tacos. So
Mm.
easy.
Speaking of food, what What food have you never eaten but you would really like to try?
Oh, golly, that's a good question. What food have I not eaten but I would really like to try? Some of those like $1,000 a pound grapes. Have you ever seen those? They're
Thousand
these
dollar a
like
pound.
they're these beautiful artisanal grapes. I saw them in an episode of Worth It once, which is this TV show where these guys go around and they taste foods at different price points and decide whether or not they're worth it at the price.
Mm.
And they bought these gorgeous grapes and they were like this big, perfectly round, perfectly shiny. Like there was nothing wrong with them. And when they ate them, they looked like they were going to heaven. I
Wow.
want to try those.
That sounds like it. Yeah, that would be worth it. I think.
Yeah.
Like like Japanese beef, $1,000 grapes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they were Japanese grapes too,
Oh,
so you know they're going
yeah.
to be good.
All right, last one.
Artisanal preparation. Yes.
Nice. All right, let's see. Last fun question. If you could make one character real, who would it be?
Ooh, one character?
Like any fictional
Like,
character, whether
okay,
in a book, in film, whatever.
any fictional character. Oh God. Oh, that's hard. Odin.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with Odin on that one. That is a fascinatingly long character development and a probably a fascinating conversation to boot.
Yeah, I think you're right about that one. I don't know who I would pick. Nobody's ever asked me that question. Who would I?
That is a
Yeah,
it's hard, right?
yeah.
Out of all the fictional characters, like I have a ton that I would love to meet. Like Gideon from Gideon the Ninth, I would love
Hmm.
to meet her. Murderbot from Murderbot, I would love to meet it. I- there are tons of characters I would love to meet. Just whittling it down to one is hard.
Yeah. Like, oh, Genevieve says she has two, and they're both game characters.
Really,
Oh,
I want to know who those are.
yeah. And
Game
Tracy
characters,
says
that's great.
Professor Snape is Tracy's pick.
That's a good choice too. That is, I mean, there's not a bad choice, right?
Right.
Any fictional character that meant something to you, oh man.
I think I would want.
Oh, I'm changing my answer.
Oh,
I'm changing my answer. I'm going with Menely from the Dragon Singer trilogy by Anne McCaffrey. I want to meet her. I so the Dragon Singer trilogy was one of my favorite trilogies when I was a young adult. It's part of the larger Dragon Riders of Pern series. If you're a big sci-fi fan, Anne McCaffrey, you know who she is. Um, Sci-fi fantasy fan. So the Dragon Singer series was a three-book series within the larger series that was about a girl who ran away from home and lived in a cave on the beach with a bunch of little tiny lizards that flew like dragons. I used to love stories of kids who ran away and survived on their own. I don't know why,
hmm,
but she was my favorite, and I wanted to be her so bad.
nice. Yeah, Genevieve says her two are Garrus from Mass Effect and Floyd Leach from Twisted Wonderland.
Oh, Garrus, though, that's a good choice.
I think if I had to choose one, it would be Doctor House from the TV show House. Like, because
That's a good one.
I can be a bit of a worrywart when it comes to my health. And I think sometimes if it's like I have I could just name like 15 different symptoms, and he can just spit out, oh yeah, it's blah 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 blah,
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
it's just a coincidence, which is what it is most of the time.
Well, if it's House, you do run the risk of him like really hurting your feelings when he tells you that.
You know what? I can deal with that because I know that going in.
Okay, yeah, you're prepared.
Under
If you
normal
wanted to,
circumstances, I would want them to break it to me gently. I have the rejection sensitivity, dysphoria, but
yeah,
if I know ahead of time this guy's going to be a dick, I'll accept that.
absolutely, absolutely. If you extrapolate further from that, you could also meet Sherlock Holmes because he was based on Sherlock Holmes,
That is true. Yes.
which is just like I didn't know that, but it makes so much sense when you think about it. His name is House Holmes. House. Come on.
That, yeah. So we're almost finished with our wonderful conversation with Katie Mizell of Cheap Smut, and once again we want to remind you to drop a pink heart in the comments if you want the book jacked up, or if you want that Patreon membership for Cheap Smut. You get all the early access to the episodes, and it's worth it. So
Absolutely. And our we always try to do one bonus episode a month, at least.
yes, yes. So, can you remind us where we can find you online besides this very platform?
Absolutely. Besides, right here, you can find me mostly. I am on TikTok if you want to actually talk to me in any way. Cheap Smut or Cheap Smut Pod on all platforms. If you search us, we have the pink heart in our logo. You will know us when you see us. You could also search Cheap Smut on all of your podcasting platforms, and we are available everywhere. If you can't find us on your platform for any reason or another, please let us know, and we will rectify that for you. Um, and if you would like to make a recommendation, ask us to read your book, or consider reading your book, please email us at cheapsmutpod@gmail.com.
Awesome. And I know you said you're going to Baltimore in the near future. Do you have any other planned events?
The two this year are Monster Erotica Con and Sinful Signings. So Monster Erotica Con is May 19th and 20th, I think. And then Sinful is July 19th and 20th. And July 20th is my birthday.
Oh, nice. It
So
is going to be
come to Sinful for my birthday.
it is going to be the biggest birthday bash you've ever had. You and 100 of your most sinful friends
Yes.
celebrating
I
with
heard it's
you.
somebody else's birthday that weekend too. I think it's maybe Desi?
I think you're right. I think it
Somebody.
is Desi's birthday.
Yeah. So we need to be having a huge party.
Oh yeah, it's going to be off the hook this year. So,
Have you
um,
already started your costume?
my costume. No, I'm still vacillating on that one. I don't know what to do about my costume. I thought about going as Eddie Valiant because I think Bree Hires was going to do Jessica Rabbit. That was a rumor.
Oh
I don't
my
know.
God.
I mean I don't know if we were just throwing out ideas and it was just one of 100 that we threw out there, but no there. What else can I do? I mean, you know, I could do any number of things.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to stick with it's Underland themed, I'm gonna be the Red Queen this year.
Ah,
And I still have to figure out what to do for Carl, but we'll figure something out.
yeah. And those costumes last year were phenomenal.
Well, thank you. I love dressing up. I love dressing up. I'm
Yes.
so excited.
Yeah. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to do this year. Okay. Any last words before we choose the? Actually, we have two. We'll have two big winners tonight. Actually, I think we only have two people entered, so and they have equal amounts of entries. So this might be an easy fix. But anything else before we'd like to get to the winners?
I no, thank you so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. And give us a listen, please. We love getting new listeners.
Nice. Absolutely, yeah, and it's a wonderful podcast. I've listened to it on YouTube, and it's well worth it.
Thank you.
So, all right. So we have. So here's what we're gonna do. We have Tracy with 7 hearts, and we have T.S. Tappan with 7 hearts. Um, I'm gonna choose who gets what, and I'm going to use the this coin. This is a Booked in Chaos coin, but it's okay. There's a head and a tail on it. So let's see. What we're going to do. Heads gets the book. Well, actually, no. What we'll do. How are we going to do this? Okay. Um, Tracy will be heads, and T.S. Tappan will be tails, and whoever. No, hold on. I'm sorry. I've completely botched how to do this. Okay. How are we going to do this? All right. So somebody's going to get the book, and somebody's going to get the Patreon. Okay. I don't know. I was trying to.
Well, if you're doing a coin flip, then they have to call it.
Okay.
So one of them calls heads, one of them calls tails.
Sure. Okay. So somebody in the comments, first, T.S. Tappan or Tracy down there, whoever calls heads first, or whoever calls it first.
Well,
No. Wait, no. I'm completely
He's got
messing this
it.
up. Okay. So Tracy called heads. I'm gonna flip it. It is a tail.
All right.
So
So that means T.S. Tappan. Well, should we say she gets first pick?
yes, that's right. So T.S. Tappan, you get first pick. You get either Jacked Up or you get the Patreon, and Tracy will get the other one. Normally, it's a little bit more, a little bit more less involved than this. I was trying to do it. I thought it'd be easy, but I think I messed it up anyway. All right, so T.S. Tappan is taking the book.
Awesome. That's fantastic.
Yes, so Tracy gets the Patreon
You lose the
membership.
book, they can drive it to your house.
Yeah, actually, I think that works out too because Tracy is from Canada. So
Oh, that's wonderful. Yay.
yes,
So we'll make sure, well, we'll do like a year for sure then.
yes.
And
Oh
we'll
wow.
get, I think I'll probably just need an email address from her.
Yes. So yep. Both of you just get in touch with Ms. Katie. And send her a
Yeah.
message, and we'll work it out. And
No
so,
trip.
yes. So. And Katie, thank you once again, and thank Carl as well. I know he stopped in for a cameo appearance, and
Yeah.
thank your wonderful dog as well for being so attentive. And it is
Thanks
been,
for putting up with him.
oh, of course. No, listen, it's been a pleasure having you, and you've I thank you again for interviewing me and interviewing so many others, and I can't wait to see you again later this year. And so, and everybody else out there, thank you again for watching. And just a couple of housekeeping notes before we close up shop here. Next week we have Lauren Logan, author Lauren Logan, with us.
Yes.
Also a
It's
sinful,
awesome.
also a sinful alum, and and this very episode and all the episodes are available on YouTube. This one should be up probably before I go to bed tonight, so I will keep you abreast of that. I always put I always do a post in all the social medias when it's available, in the Facebook group, the Discord, Insta, everywhere. And if you would like to be on the show, we are, we have a couple of interest forms. We're booked through 2025. We're going to start booking through. We're going to start booking 2026 very soon. If you want to be on next year, we have an interest form in our link tree. It's the link tree, Friday Night Rights, just spelled out. And last but not least, the Friday Night Rights anthology, See Me As I Am. It is coming out in July, and we are doing a cover reveal on March 15th. And I know a lot of you have volunteered graciously to be a part of the physical reveal, or we sent out postcards. And for those of you who wanted to just do a post online, we're going to send a PDF copy of the cover to spread the word on all the socials, and we thank you so much. So, again, the See Me As I Am, it's focusing on invisible and overlooked illnesses, that plague all of us, or most of us. Well, I mean, everything plagues somebody, but it's anybody who deals with something, then that's we have some wonderful authors who are telling their stories, and we can't wait to share them all with all of you. So I think that'll do it for tonight. But Katie, thank you again, and
Thank you. This is so great. And congratulations on your anthology. I didn't know you guys were doing that. That's cool.
yes, absolutely, yeah, yeah, and I can't wait to share everybody's story with all of you. And by the way, those proceeds are going to the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI.
Wonderful. That's cool. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Brian. This has been a fantastic time. I'm sorry I missed Sam and Evie, but it was really good to talk to you.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I know they're sorry they missed you, but stuff happens, and
Oh, yeah.
but I know that we'll all see each other again soon, and we'll see all of you next week. Thank you again. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.